guys, I'm Joan.
I'm Joanita.
And we are students of Ghana Christian International High School. And we urge you all to subscribe to HisGov TV. Thank you.
Hello, you are welcome to HisGov TV. I'm excited today because we are getting more subscribers, and so I urge you to continue to share and also recommend you to subscribe if you have not done so. Now, today we are looking at a very interesting topic, and we are looking at the National Redemption Council, which later became known as the Supreme Military Council, or the SMC-1, which ruled the country from 1972 to 1978. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, almost 6 years of rule. And this was a military regime that overthrew the Progress Party. And so, in case you have not read or listened or watched our video on the reasons for the overthrow of the PP party or the Busia party, I have added the link in the description. Click on it and watch in the RPK section. Okay, now today we are going to look at the Redemption Council, the NRC, which overthrew the Progress Party, or Dr. K.A Busia's party. Specifically, we are going to look at members of the National Redemption Council, or the Supreme Military Council. So later they changed their name to Supreme Military Council 1, or SMC-1. We'll look at the members of the council, okay? And then the next topic, we will also take a look at the achievements of the NRC, or the achievement of the National Redemption Council in the field of agriculture, because the NRC, or Acheampong government, placed much emphasis on agriculture. Okay, and so that is why we would look at the achievement of Acheampong in the National Redemption Council, the NRC. It is very fascinating that the NRC, or Acheampong government, has been one of the longest government or serving government before the Fourth Republic, because if you look through, I think apart from the PNDC or Rawlings, who ruled for almost close to 19 years, no other party, the next longest serving leader of Ghana is Acheampong. Okay, because he ruled for 6 years, all right, or the NRC ruled for 6 years. And so, but you see, most often Acheampong's history is not talked, much is not said about this man, Acheampong. Basically because, you know, Acheampong overthrew the PP, and don't forget, PP is the ancestors of the New Patriotic Party, I mean the ruling party now, all right? And also, don't also forget that, Rawlings, the NDC, the two dominant parties, all had issues with Acheampong, because don't forget, Acheampong overthrew the ancestors of the New Patriotic Party, the NPP today, okay? And also, Rawlings, the NRC also arrested Rawlings, and then of course later Rawlings came to overthrow the SMC-2 and decided to kill Acheampong and the rest and co. And so you realize that there is this balance. You know, Acheampong is kept in a very fixed, situation. All these two dominant parties leading the country today have issues with him, and so it is very, very difficult for any of them to talk about Acheampong, and that's why Acheampong's achievement is somehow not said much. Much is not said about it. But I'm very happy that today we are going to share light on his achievement. Today we will focus on the agricultural achievement, and then we will also take a look at the economic achievement in our next lesson. So let's go in there and look at our lesson objectives for today. Good. So our lesson objectives for today will be that by the end of this lesson, you should be able, by the end of this lesson, you should be able to list the members of the National Redemption Council and also the Supreme Military Council. I have already indicated that it is the same NRC that changed its name to be known as the Supreme Military Council, or the SMC2. Good. Then we should also be able to discuss the achievement of the NRC, or the National Redemption Council, in the field of agriculture. So what was Acheampong able to achieve in the field of agriculture? You should be able to do that at the end of this lesson. So let's go in there and look at the details over there. Now, Ghana's second attempt at the democratic administration also suffered another setback, all right, in 1972, which then means that after the overthrow of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah in 1966, the country tried in 1969 to experiment to return the country into a democratic rule or administration. But that also suffered a big blow when the NRC, the National Redemption Council, led by Ignatius Kutu Acheampong, Colonel Ignatius Kutu Acheampong, overthrew the Progress Party. And so, we went back again to the military regimes, and that is what we mean by that. And so, Colonel Ignatius Kutu Acheampong, he was then the commander of the 5th Battalion Army, and he staged a successful coup d'etat, all right, that ousted the Busia government, and the coup took place on January 13th, 1972. Okay, and at the time of the coup, we have already said that at the time of the coup, K.A BUSIA, Dr. K.A BUSIA was not in the country as at that time. BUSIA was on a medical checkup in London, okay, in Oxford, and then the coup took place. And so basically, the coup against K.A BUSIA is almost like that of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, because you realize that Nkrumah was also not around, and then Nkrumah was overthrown, and so that is what happened. Now let's take a look at the NRC. So the NRC, or the National Redemption Council, was then formed after the coup, and Lieutenant Colonel Acheampong, he became the head of state and also chairman of the NRC, or the National Redemption Council. And so when you look on your right here, I have a 1972 newspaper on the 14th January. So a day after the coup took place, on the 14th January 1972, newspaper reporting of the coup against the Busia government. All right, and so you look here, you have a small portion here, it says Afrifa grabbed. Afrifa was grabbed after the coup. Don't forget the role that Afrifa played in of course, during Nkrumah's regime. And then also we have the National Redemption Council being formed over here. And then economy, it says NRC declares total war on the economy. And so basically, you realize that things were not going on well in the country. And if you want to know these things, go in there, click on the link in the RPK, and you'll get access to these things. Now, Acheampong was a pro-Nkrumahist. That's what people say, that Acheampong belonged to the faction of Nkrumah. He was an Nkrumahist, and therefore, when they overthrew Nkrumah, it was as if it was a revenge that Acheampong did to come back again to overthrow the party that orchestrated the overthrow of Nkrumah. So that is what some people were actually said. Okay, so let's take a look at the members of the NRC as being our first objective for the day. So let's take a look at the members of the NRC. I tried to get some of the pictures. Of some of these people, but it was very difficult for me. It was very difficult for me to to get some of the pictures. And so these were the only 2 people that I got. Don't forget, the Acheampong will be the first member. The first member of the NRC, and he was the chairman of the NRC. And then I had another one here, Fela Nunu, but we will look at them later. So the first one of them was Major A.H. Salome. We also had E.N. Mori. He was the Attorney General of the NRC. And then we also had Major Kwame Ba, Major K.B. Agbo, and then we also had Brigadier N.Y.R. Ashley of Kolesan, and he was the Chief of Defense Staff. Okay, and then we also had Commander P.F. Kwe. He was the Navy commander. And we also had Brigadier C. Bosuli, and he was also the Air Force commander. Then we had Major R.J.A. Felix, and then also Colonel E.A. Exon, who was the Army commander. So this is the Felix guy that I was talking about. Okay, and then we also had Lieutenant Colonel C.D. Benny, Colonel J.C. Ajete, and J.H. Kobina, IGP. He was the IGP. So that is what these were some of the members of the NRC, and like I said, I tried to get pictures of at least majority of them, but that proved very, very difficult. And so I would entreat you to just take these 2 pictures that I got from them. And so that is what you have them here. Acheampong was the head of state. Okay, he was the chairman of the NRC, and as you have seen them over there. Good. So let's go in there now that we know some of the members. Try and keep some of them in mind, because they can ask you to give them some or state some of the members of the NRC, say 3 or 4 of them. Okay, good. So let's look at the achievements of the NRC in terms of agriculture. We are limiting ourselves to only agriculture. Now, one of the notable achievement of the NRC in terms of agriculture was what it termed as Operation Feed Yourself, OFY, which sought to make the country self-reliant. Operation Feed Yourself. Don't forget, during Busia's regime, there was hunger. Food was scarce, mainly because most of the basic commodities were imported from the country. From outside. Okay, and so since there wasn't much money in the system to import these things, it led to food shortage. So what Acheampong came to do was that he came with a certain program called Operation Feed Yourself. Now, in this Operation Feed Yourself, it was expected that everybody would engage in farming. Everybody should engage in farming. And agriculture is so important that no civilization can survive without agriculture. When you look at the histories of the very powerful empires that we have or that you know of, all of them started, or one factor that aided in the rise of all these empires was agriculture. So no country can do without agriculture. All right, and so Acheampong championed this whole cause in producing what you eat. Feed yourself. So you produce what you eat. If you don't, produce what you eat, then you don't eat it at all. Okay? And so I think that was also a good one. So he launched this Operation Feed Yourself, that everybody should engage in farming. And he encouraged people to grow, crops, to grow what they eat. Grow what they eat instead of what? Importing these things. Don't forget, the colonial economy was in such a way that Africans were forced to grow what they did not eat. Okay? And they were forced to eat what they did not grow. And so you realize that somebody could have large acres of cocoa farm, but this person will not even have just a portion for maize. He will not even have one maize farm or one cassava farm. And so the question is, the large acres of cocoa farm that you have, can you eat cocoa and survive raw? But that is what most farmers feel like if they have, is the best. But we all know that you can't eat cocoa farm and then be okay. But you see, because of the colonial economy system that the colony structured, we are structured to produce certain kind of food crops only, cash crops, only cotton, cocoa, rubber and coal only to support their industries. And then they expect that we import food crops from them. And so this was a reason why Acheampong would champion this. And even today, we are still struggling with eating what we produce. And so now we have termed it, Eat Ghana, Feed Ghana, all kinds of stuff like that. And so this whole operation, got Ghanaians interested. People loved to farm. A lot of people were having backyard gardens in their houses. And so what happened was that everybody was involved in this Operation Feed Yourself. Okay, examples: midwives who were in the house, professionals, even teachers, doctors, lawyers, high-level public servants were all seen tilling land and growing basic food items such as vegetables. You could recall that today we still import tomato from Burkina Faso. How? And so when there is a dollar, increase, then the more our currency devalue against the dollar, then these commodities are going to be very expensive. And that is why in this time that there is a war in somebody's country, we are even bearing the hardship of that war more than even the country itself. In terms of food, in terms of prices, in terms of inflation. When you take away the fact that in those countries people are dying, over here we are bearing the hardship of that war, the effect of that war, even more than the countries that are fighting. Okay? Russia that is engaged in the war is not even suffering like countries that are not part of the war. All because these countries do not produce what they eat. And so they are relying on importation. And that will lead to your currency being devalued. And then these things that you import are going to be expensive. And so this Operation Feed Yourself was a good one. And amazingly, look at something here. It says, due to this Operation Feed Yourself, there was no single food imported into the country by 1975. From 72, 3, 4, 5, no food was imported into the country. And that will help to stable your currency because your importation is less. And so this Operation Feed Yourself was one of the most famous agricultural achievements of the Acheampong regime. Then the next one was Operation Feed Your Industry. So after feeding yourself, then you can feed your industry. So what happened was that the government launched the phase 2 of this program, Operation Feeding. Okay, and this one was Operation Feed Your Industry. So industries were supposed to be feed. Now, in this Operation Feed Your Industry, it was a follow-up to that of the Operation Feed Yourself. Because if after you have feed yourself, then you can feed your industry. So what then happened in this Operation Feed Your Industry was that certain cash crops, emphasizes were placed, certain cash crops were chosen to be produced on large quantities. And these cash crops were exported for foreign exchange. So we have rubber, we have sugarcane, we have cotton, we have granite, and then we have cashew. These were, they were taken aside and grown or cultivated in order to export them. Okay, so this is a rubber here. Those who don't know a rubber, this is an example of a rubber tree. I think the picture has turned. I think it's supposed to be the other way around. Sorry about that. And this is, of course, granite, and this is cashew, and this is cotton. And I know you know of sugar cane. Good. Now, what happened was that cotton was given a particular attention to the extent that the producer price of cotton was raised from 20 pesos at that time to 70 pesos per kilogram. Is that not funny? Is that not amazing how our currency is running? 20 pesos. Now, I don't think you can use 20 pesos to even buy pencil. I'm not sure. But a kilo of cotton at that time was sold at 20 pesos. Okay, and also the Cotton Development Board also received 4 million euro for our expansion projects to help in the in the cultivation of cotton. Okay, so that is also one example of the Acheampong's regime. Okay, now the next achievement of Acheampong was in the field of irrigation. Okay, we are dealing with agriculture, and so all the achievements are going to be in agricultural form. So irrigation, as you have seen in the picture on your right hand side, irrigation projects also took place in the time of Acheampong. And don't forget that even Nana Akufo-Addo, our current president, was also championing one district, one dam, all because of irrigation purposes. And so in order to ensure that there was food all throughout the year, so that we don't only rely on the natural cause of rain, what then happened was that on 27th March 1975, a sword was cut to start work on a 5.7 million tunnel irrigation project, which was to take place in the upper region of Ghana. The Dorwinya irrigation also took place or started, and then also in the central region, the Ochirukro irrigation project, and in Trodu, near Elmina, irrigation scheme also started. Now, the Central Region Irrigation Project was aimed at cultivating about 1,500 acres of rice. 1,500 acres of rice. And so you see that Acheampong did not rely so much on foreign donors, on foreign aid, as today we are doing. Any little thing we run to the IMF, we run to whatever for some sort of support. You realize that Acheampong was trying to solve the problem from its core, from its root. And that is what our country, our president should be doing. Again, just take a look at this one. Acheampong also established the ADB Bank, or the Agricultural Development Bank. Yes. So the bank that you see today in the picture over here, the ADB, was established by the Acheampong government. And the purpose of the bank was to give soft loans, or to grant soft loans to farmers on liberal terms, to expand their needy to expand their farms, and also needy industries to be able to acquire basic farming implements as well, and equipment to facilitate their operation. So you see, don't forget that both before and even after independence, Ghana's economy had always been in the hands of foreign investors. Most of our banks, our strong banks, are foreign banks. So what then happened was that these foreign banks they did not want to give loans to farmers. And so it becomes very difficult for a local farmer to cultivate on a large scale for export. So you realize that, yes, even though we may have farmers, all of them are cultivating subsistence for their own interest and just sell a few of them. None of these farmers were cultivating on a large scale. No. And if a country that wants to export farm produce, how do you do that when these people are not these farmers are not producing on a large scale? And so in order for the Acheampong government to help, or to resource these farmers to be able to produce on a large scale, so that the country could export some of these for hard-earned currency, the ADB bank was set up purposely for that only, and also to help industries local industries to also acquire machines in the production of their in their production processes. So that is the purpose of the Agricultural Development Bank. That is why the name is Agricultural Development Bank. And I'm sure that they are still sticking to their mission and vision of their existence. Okay, good. So let's take a look at the next one. The last one, I think this will be the last one on the achievements of Acheampong in agriculture. Acheampong also supplied farmers with agricultural inputs, and then in some instances too, there was subsidies on these inputs. Okay, so this was done in order to boost food production. All right, so the NRC supplied farmers with agricultural inputs, and these inputs example were seedlings and seeds. There were also fertilizers, there were also insecticides, weedicides, and other agricultural implements or machines. Also, free expert advice on modern agricultural techniques were also given to farmers. So these farm inputs that you see here were supplied to farmers at a lower cost, at times freely to these farmers. So this is the weedicide, as you have seen here. This is the for fertilizer. These are the seedlings. These are some of the machines, the spraying machine. And today, farmers are complaining that the cost of these items are very high. Now, when the cost of these items are very high, what then happens? What then happens is that the foods that these farmers are going to produce are going to be expensive, because the implements and the fertilizers and the whatever that they used in the cultivation process is going to lead to the high cost of the food. Okay, and so today you hear our president saying that, or our ministers of agriculture saying that food is on the market. Food has not, there is no whatever. Food is there. Yes, food is there, but the cost is too much. Why? Because these items have not been reduced. And so the things that the farmers use in the cultivation process becomes very, very expensive, forcing them to also increase the price of their food product. And so, but we still hear our current government, I'm talking about subsidies for farmers on fertilizer and organic and other stuff. So you saw that Acheampong, by way of ending, you saw that Acheampong was so much interested in agriculture because he saw that agriculture was supposed to be the backbone. It was actually the backbone, and it is the backbone of every economy. You see, when the COVID came, all what man could think about was food, nothing else. So without you being able to produce to feed yourself, it is going to be very, very tough for your country. And the reason why Ghana, we are suffering mainly because we don't produce what we eat. And quite recently, the president was preaching, eat Ghana, feed Ghana, blah, blah, Ghana. But we don't see the impact of some of these things. Okay, and so I wish that our government, current and successive government, would implement better agricultural policies. We hear of planting for food, but Charlie, where is the food? Where is the job? Where is the whatsoever? Good. So I think you have been educated today, and I am encouraging you to also go into farming. It's very, very good. It's very, very good. Go into farming because you cannot always be buying imported products. All right. Yes. So I think you have enjoyed yourself today. Thank you for your time. Subscribe to the page. But before we go, let's take a look at a WhatsApp question that came in 2014. It says, highlight any 5 ways used by the National Redemption Council to improve agriculture in Ghana. And as for this one, I know that you should be able to do that because we have done it just right now. We just did it right now. Good. So our next video, our next lesson on the NRC, we will take a look at the economic activity, the economic developments of the NRC, and you will love Acheampong for that. You will love Acheampong for that. I wish you would do much more research on Colonel Ignatius Kutu Acheampong for your own benefit. Okay, good. So thank you very much for your time, and we are going to meet some other time. Please subscribe, and if you have any if you have any topic that you want us to look at, please comment or write it on the comment section for me, and I'll be happy to do that for you as well. Good. Have a nice day. I love you all, and bye-bye.
TV, first among equals. Bye.